Commander Lisa Martinez stood at the observation deck of Earth Station Endeavour, her dark eyes fixed on the strange ship that had just appeared at the edge of their solar system. The vessel's design was unlike anything humans had ever seen before. Its hull seemed to shimmer like liquid mercury in the starlight. "Commander, they're broadcasting again," said Officer Steve Baker, his fingers moving quickly across the holographic display. "Same message as before. They want to talk." Lisa took a deep breath. After years of wondering if humanity was alone in the universe, first contact was about to happen on her watch. The alien ship had appeared 3 hours ago, and since then they had been sending the same message in perfect English. "We come in peace. We request diplomatic dialogue." "Tell them we accept," she said. "Have them dock at Bay 7. I want security teams on standby, but weapons holstered. We don't want to look hostile." As she walked to the docking bay, Lisa noticed her hands were trembling slightly. She tucked them behind her back, maintaining the commanding presence her crew needed to see. The station's corridors felt longer than usual, each step bringing humanity closer to a moment that would change everything. When the airlock doors opened, Lisa's first thought was that the aliens looked almost delicate. The 3 Zalaxians who stepped through were tall and slender, with silvery blue skin that seemed to pulse with a faint inner light. Their large dark eyes darted around nervously, and their long fingers kept twitching. "Welcome to Earth Station Endeavour," Lisa said, keeping her voice steady and calm. "I am Commander Martinez." The tallest of the aliens stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Crixval of the Xylaxian Confederation." Its voice had an odd musical quality, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "We bring greetings from the Galactic Council." Lisa noticed something odd. Every time she or any other human moved, the aliens would flinch slightly. When Officer Baker shifted his weight from one foot to the other, she saw Ambassador Crixval's eyes widen with what looked like fear. "Please, follow me to our conference room," Lisa said, gesturing toward the corridor. The aliens hesitated for a moment before following, maintaining what seemed like an unnecessarily large distance between themselves and the humans. The conference room was designed to impress, with its large viewport showing Earth below, but the aliens barely glanced at the view. Instead, they seemed focused on the humans, watching their every movement with an intensity that made Lisa uncomfortable. "Your message mentioned a galactic council," Lisa said once everyone was seated. "We had no idea there was an established interstellar community." Crixval's fingers tapped nervously on the table. "Yes, we have been watching your species for some time. Your recent achievements in faster-than-light travel indicated you were ready for contact." The ambassador paused, those large eyes fixed on Lisa. Though some council members had concerns. "Concerns?" Lisa asked. "About what?" Before Crixval could answer, one of the other aliens leaned forward with some sort of scanning device. It beeped, and all 3 Zalaxians jerked back in their seats. "Is something wrong?" Lisa asked, growing increasingly puzzled by their behavior. No, Crixval said quickly, too quickly. "We are simply adjusting to your presence. Your species is quite unique." Lisa watched as the aliens exchanged quick glances with each other. They were hiding something, that much was clear. But what could be so frightening about humans that made these advanced beings act like nervous deer? The meeting continued for another hour, with the Zalaxians sharing basic information about the Galactic Council, while carefully avoiding any direct questions about their obvious discomfort. When they finally left, Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of something much bigger. Back in her office, Lisa recorded her log entry. First contact established with Xylaxian species. While peaceful, their behavior suggests they find something about humans deeply unsettling. Request immediate anthropological and xenobiological analysis of all meeting footage. Whatever they're not telling us, we need to find out. I have a feeling our place in the galaxy depends on it. She looked out her window at the Xylaxian ship, still shimmering in the distance. What truth about humanity could be so shocking that it would make advanced alien beings tremble? Lisa had a feeling they were about to find out, whether they wanted to or not. Dr. Peter Wright sat in his lab, staring at the medical scanner results with growing confusion. He had run the tests 5 times now, and each time they showed the same thing. The Xylaxian visitors were experiencing massive spikes in stress hormones whenever they came near humans. "This doesn't make sense," he muttered, running his hand through his graying hair. The screen in front of him showed 2 distinct readings, one from when the aliens were alone and another from when they were in the presence of humans. The difference was striking. A knock at his lab door made him look up. Lieutenant Kevin Bennett walked in, his face serious. "Doc, you need to see this," he said, placing a data pad on the desk. "Our security systems picked up some encrypted transmissions from the Xylaxian ship. We managed to decode parts of it." Peter picked up the pad and began reading. His eyes widened as he scrolled through the text. The aliens were sending detailed analyses of human biology back to their homeworld. But it wasn't just basic scientific data. They were specifically focusing on human endurance capabilities, healing rates, and pain tolerance. "Look at this part," Kevin said, pointing to a particular section. "They seem especially interested in our ability to heal from injuries. And here, they're amazed that humans can run for hours without stopping." Peter nodded slowly. "That matches what I'm seeing in their medical scans. Every time they witness a human doing something physically demanding, their fear response goes through the roof." He pulled up a video from earlier that day. "Watch this." The footage showed a maintenance worker lifting a heavy crate in the cargo bay. The Xylaxian observers in the background visibly recoiled, their silvery skin pulsing rapidly with what appeared to be anxiety. But why would our normal activities frighten them so much? Kevin wondered aloud. Before Peter could answer, his computer chimed with an incoming message. It was from the Xylaxian medical officer, requesting permission to conduct more detailed scans of human volunteers. The message emphasized that the scans were purely for scientific purposes. "They're lying," Kevin said flatly. "Those transmissions I intercepted, they're not just sending this data to their scientists. It's going to their military command as well." Peter frowned, thinking back to his cynobiology training. "You know, most prey species on Earth show similar stress responses when they encounter predators. Their bodies release hormones preparing them to flee." He trailed off as the implications hit him. Kevin caught on quickly. "Are you saying they see us as predators?" "Think about it," Peter said, pulling up more data. "Humans evolved as persistence hunters. We can run longer than almost any other species on Earth. We heal quickly from injuries. We can adapt to almost any environment. What if—" He paused, choosing his words carefully. "What if most intelligent species in the galaxy evolved from prey animals?" The 2 men sat in silence for a moment, letting that idea sink in. The computer chimed again. Another message from the Xylaxians, this time requesting data on human pain thresholds and recovery rates. "We should tell Commander Martinez about this," Kevin said finally. "If the aliens see us as some kind of apex predators, it could explain their behavior during the first contact meeting." Peter nodded, already gathering his data. "And we need to be careful about what information we share with them. Their fear could easily turn to hostility if they decide we're too dangerous." As they headed to the commander's office, Peter noticed a group of Xylaxian observers watching human crew members in the exercise room. The aliens' expressions were a mixture of horror and fascination as they watched people running on treadmills and lifting weights. "You know what's ironic?" Peter said quietly to Kevin. "They're terrified of us because of the very traits that helped us survive and build our civilization. The same abilities that make us scary to them are what let us explore the stars in the first place." Kevin looked thoughtful. "Let's just hope we can help them understand that being strong doesn't make us dangerous. Otherwise, this first contact might be our last." Security Officer Michelle Rodriguez watched the stream of alien ships leaving Earth's orbit with growing concern. In the past week, 5 different alien diplomatic missions had suddenly withdrawn from Earth Station Endeavour. Each departure followed the same pattern: rushed goodbyes, vague excuses, and fearful glances at the human crew members. She sat at her monitoring station, reviewing the latest batch of intercepted communications. The translation software worked overtime as messages in various alien languages poured in. Michelle's eyes narrowed as she noticed a pattern emerging. "Computer, highlight all references to human biological characteristics," she commanded. The screen lit up with dozens of marked passages. One phrase kept appearing: apex predator. The door to the security office slid open, and Dr. Wright walked in with Lieutenant Bennett. They both looked worried. "You need to see this," Michelle said, turning her screen toward them. "The Zalaxians have been spreading information about us throughout the galactic community. But they're not sharing scientific data anymore. They're sharing warnings." She pulled up one of the translated messages. "Humans can pursue prey for days without rest. Their wounds heal at alarming rates. They can survive in almost any environment. Exercise caution in all dealings with this dangerous species." "It's getting worse," Kevin said, pulling out his datapad. "The Zalaxians just classified all information about human physical capabilities as a military secret. They're treating our biology like it's a weapon." Peter leaned closer to the screen, reading more of the intercepted messages. "Look at this. They're especially worried about our endurance running. Apparently, most sentient species in the galaxy evolved to run in short bursts, like deer or rabbits. The idea that we can just keep going until our prey gets tired is terrifying to them." Michelle pulled up another file. "And it's not just the running. They're scared of how quickly we recover from injuries. One report calls our healing abilities unnaturally aggressive. Another suggests we might be impossible to stop in combat because of our pain tolerance." "But we're not trying to hurt anyone," Peter protested. "These abilities evolved because we had to survive on Earth. We used them to build civilizations, not to destroy them." A new alert flashed on Michelle's screen. She opened it and read quickly, her expression growing more serious. "The Galactic Council just raised our threat level. We're now classified as a potentially dangerous predator species. They're recommending limited contact and constant monitoring of human activities." Kevin walked to the window, watching another alien ship prepare for departure. "This is bad. If they're this afraid of us just because of our biology, how can we ever have normal relations with them?" "Wait," Michelle said suddenly, pulling up a different set of messages. "Not all the aliens are running away. Look at this. Some of them are actually fascinated by us. There's a whole discussion thread about how humans use their endurance to help others. They're sharing stories about human rescue workers, doctors, and emergency responders." Peter moved closer to read the messages. "They're right. The same traits that make us scary to them also make us good at protecting and helping others. We can work longer, push harder, and keep going when others have to stop." "Maybe that's the key," Kevin said thoughtfully. "Instead of trying to convince them we're not dangerous, we need to show them how we use our abilities for good." Michelle nodded, but before she could respond, her console lit up with urgent messages. The Zylaxian ship was broadcasting on all frequencies. "This is Ambassador Crixval of the Galactic Council," the message began. "In light of recent biological data, we are implementing immediate restrictions on human space travel and colonization. All human vessels must return to their solar system until further notice." The three humans looked at each other in dismay. Their worst fears were coming true. The aliens' fear was turning into action. If they couldn't find a way to change the Galactic Council's mind soon, humanity would be trapped in its own solar system, imprisoned by other species' fears of their natural abilities. Captain Daniel Foster stood before the emergency meeting of the Galactic Council, his heart beating steadily despite the hundreds of alien eyes fixed on him. The circular chamber was massive, with rising tiers of seats filled with representatives from over 50 different species. Most of them were keeping their distance from the human delegation, as if they expected Daniel to suddenly attack. "The Council's decision is final," Ambassador Crixval announced from the central platform. Humans must accept genetic modification to reduce their physical capabilities or face permanent quarantine within their solar system. These modifications will make humans more peaceful. Daniel stepped forward, his voice clear and firm. We reject this ultimatum. You're asking us to change the very essence of who we are based on your fears, not our actions. A murmur ran through the chamber. Many aliens shifted uncomfortably in their seats. One of the council members, a floating creature that looked like a jellyfish, spoke up. Your species can hunt prey for days without rest. You can survive injuries that would kill most sentient beings. How can we trust such dangerous creatures? Those same abilities you fear, Daniel replied, are the reason we can work 30-hour shifts in emergency rooms to save lives. They're why our rescue workers can dig through rubble for days to find survivors after disasters. They're what lets us push through exhaustion to help others. He pulled up a holographic display showing human medical workers, firefighters, and rescue teams in action. Look at these images. Yes, we can endure more than most species, but we use that strength to protect, not to harm. The chamber grew quiet as the aliens watched humans rushing into burning buildings, performing lengthy surgeries, and working through extreme conditions to help others. Daniel could see some of them starting to look thoughtful rather than fearful. Furthermore, he continued, our ability to heal quickly means we can test new medical treatments that might be too risky for your species. Many of our greatest medical breakthroughs came because human test subjects could survive the early trials. A new voice spoke up, a reptilian alien with iridescent scales. But your pain tolerance, your aggressive healing response, these are traits of predator species. You're right, Daniel agreed. We evolved as predators. But evolution doesn't define destiny. We've built our civilization on cooperation and mutual aid, not violence. Our endurance doesn't make us monsters. It makes us persistent in helping others. He brought up new images. Human scientists working long hours in laboratories, astronauts on lengthy space missions, doctors performing complex surgeries. These traits you fear have driven our greatest achievements. We don't want to conquer you. We want to work with you. Crixval's skin pulsed with what Daniel had learned was agitation. Pretty words, but they don't change the biological facts. Your species is simply too dangerous to allow unrestricted access to the galaxy. Then you leave us no choice, Daniel said firmly. We won't accept modification. If you want to quarantine us, remember this. You're not just locking away a threat. You're locking away allies who could help during crisis, partners who could advance medical science, friends who would work tirelessly to assist any species in need. He looked around the chamber, meeting as many alien gazes as he could. Yes, we can chase prey until it collapses from exhaustion. But we also chase solutions to problems until we find answers. We pursue scientific discoveries with the same determination. We can work through pain, not to fight, but to heal and help others. The chamber erupted in discussion. Daniel could see some council members nodding thoughtfully, while others still showed signs of fear. The debate wasn't over, but at least now they were listening. As he stepped back from the platform, Daniel knew this was just the beginning. Changing centuries of evolutionary fear wouldn't be easy, but if humans were as persistent in diplomacy as they were in everything else, they might have a chance. Commander Lisa Martinez was about to go off duty when the emergency alert flashed across her screen. A massive asteroid storm had struck the Xylaxian colony on Proxima b, causing widespread destruction. The same aliens who had just voted to quarantine humanity were now facing the devastating crisis. She didn't hesitate. This is Commander Martinez to all crews. Prepare rescue ships for immediate launch. We have civilians in danger. But Commander, Officer Steve Baker protested, the Council ordered us to stay in our solar system. If we leave now, they might see it as an act of aggression. Lisa stood up, her decision already made. They can court-martial me later. I won't sit here while people die, even if they're afraid of us. Ready the medical ships. Within an hour, 3 human rescue vessels were racing toward the Xylaxian colony. The ship's crews worked quickly to prepare emergency supplies and medical equipment. Through the viewport, Lisa could see the devastation as they approached. Massive asteroids had torn through the colony's protective shields, leaving destruction in their wake. The Xylaxian authorities initially tried to wave them off, but Lisa ignored their warnings. "We're coming in to help, whether you like it or not. You can arrest us after we save your people." For 3 days straight, human rescue teams worked without rest. They dug through collapsed buildings, carried injured Xylaxians to safety, and repaired critical life support systems. The aliens watched in amazement as the humans worked hour after hour, pushing through exhaustion that would have stopped most species. "How are they still going?" One Xylaxian asked another as they watched a human rescue worker emerge from a collapsed building carrying 2 injured colonists. "They've been working for 30 hours straight. Look at their wounds," another whispered, pointing to the cuts and bruises on the humans' arms. "They're injured, but they keep working. How can they ignore such pain?" Lisa herself worked alongside her crews, stopping only when she nearly collapsed from exhaustion. As she took a brief rest, drinking water and eating an energy bar, she noticed a young Xylaxian child watching her with wide eyes. "Are you not afraid?" the child asked. "The building might fall." Lisa smiled gently. "Being brave doesn't mean not being afraid. It means helping others even when you are afraid." On the 4th day, as human medical teams treated the injured and engineering crews repaired the colony's power grid, Lisa noticed a change in the Xylaxians' behavior. They were no longer flinching away from the humans. Instead, they were watching with what looked like respect. Ambassador Crixval approached her as she coordinated another rescue mission. His silver skin was dulled with dust and fatigue. "Commander Martinez, I must admit something. We were wrong about humans." Lisa wiped sweat from her forehead, too tired to stand on ceremony. "How so?" "We saw your physical abilities as weapons," Crixval said quietly. "Your endurance, your pain tolerance, your persistence. We thought these things made you dangerous. But watching your people work themselves to exhaustion to save our colony." He paused. "These traits don't make you monsters. They make you heroes." Lisa looked around at her crews, still working despite their exhaustion. One team had just pulled 3 more survivors from a collapsed building. Another was repairing crucial life support systems. They were dirty, tired, and injured, but none of them had stopped. "This is who we are," she said simply. "The same strength that lets us chase prey for hours lets us search for survivors until we find them. The same endurance that frightens you lets us work until everyone is safe. We're not going to change who we are, but maybe now you understand why." The asteroid storm had destroyed much of the colony, but it had also destroyed something else: the barrier of fear between humans and aliens. As Lisa watched humans and Xylaxians working side by side to rebuild, she realized that sometimes it took a disaster to reveal the truth about people. Dr. Amy Chen stood in the newly built Cultural Exchange Center on Earth Station Endeavour, surrounded by aliens from 12 different species. After the rescue mission to the Xylaxian colony, interest in understanding humans had grown rapidly. Now, as head of the first interspecies cultural program, Amy had a chance to show aliens who humans really were. "Today, we're going to explore human art and music," she announced to the gathered aliens. "But first, I want to tell you a story about how humans learned to create." She dimmed the lights and activated a holographic display showing ancient cave paintings. Our ancestors didn't just hunt animals. They sat in caves and painted them on walls. The same hands that could throw spears also created beauty. A jellyfish-like alien floated forward. But why would predators make art? It serves no hunting purpose. Amy smiled. Because humans don't just persist in hunting or running. We persist in everything we do. When our ancestors wanted to make music, they worked for hours carving flutes from bones. When they wanted to remember stories, they invented writing and worked for generations to perfect it. She moved through the display, showing human achievements through history. The same determination that lets us chase prey for hours let us study the stars until we understood them. The same stamina that frightens you drove us to spend years building pyramids, inventing medicines, and solving mathematical problems. A Zylaxian student raised their hand. But your art, it shows such understanding of other creatures. How can predators have such empathy? Being strong doesn't mean we can't be gentle, Amy explained. Being able to hunt doesn't mean we can't also create and nurture. She brought up images of human doctors treating patients, artists painting delicate pictures, and scientists working carefully with tiny specimens. The next display showed human musical instruments. Listen to this, Amy said, playing a recording of a symphony. The aliens watched in fascination as the music filled the room. The same persistence that lets us chase prey let us practice instruments for thousands of hours to create something beautiful. A reptilian alien moved closer to examine a painting. Your art shows pain and struggle, but also hope and joy. How can you understand both? Because we've experienced both, Amy replied. Our strength comes from facing challenges and continuing anyway. When we paint or write or make music, we share those experiences with others. It's not just about showing our power, it's about showing our heart. Throughout the day, Amy led the aliens through different aspects of human culture. She showed them how humans use their endurance to create massive architectural works, their determination to solve complex scientific problems, and their persistence to master difficult artistic skills. The aliens began to ask more questions, not about human hunting abilities, but about human creativity. They wanted to know how humans could spend years perfecting a single skill, how they could work through failure after failure until they succeeded. You see, Amy explained as the session was ending, the same traits that make us seem dangerous also make us creative and determined. We don't just persist in physical tasks. We persist in learning, in creating, in understanding others. A young Zylaxian approached her after the session. Dr. Chen, I always thought humans were scary because you could outrun any prey. But now I see that you also ran toward the stars, toward knowledge, toward beauty. Amy nodded, touching the alien's shoulder gently. That's exactly right. Our strength isn't just in our bodies, it's in our desire to learn and create. We may have evolved as predators, but we chose to become explorers, artists, and teachers too. As the aliens left the center, Amy noticed they were walking closer to the humans than before, their fear beginning to fade. In its place was growing curiosity and understanding. Sometimes, she thought, the best way to overcome fear was not to deny what you were, but to show all of what you could be. Officer Nathan Kelly stood in the main hall of the Galactic Council building, watching as delegates from 20 different species filed into the chamber. 1 year had passed since the asteroid crisis at the Zylaxian colony, and everything had changed. Today, they would vote on officially removing all restrictions on human space travel. The council is ready to begin, announced Ambassador Crixval, who now spoke without any trace of fear in his voice. We are here to acknowledge our mistake and welcome humanity as full members of the galactic community. Nathan smiled as he remembered how far they had come. After the rescue mission, he had worked to create the first mixed-species emergency response team. Now, his team included members from 6 different alien races, each bringing their own unique abilities to help others. Humans have shown us something remarkable, Crixval continued. What we once feared as dangerous traits are actually gifts that can benefit all species. Their endurance, their healing abilities, their determination. These are not weapons, but tools for helping others. The chamber's display screen showed footage from recent joint missions. Humans working alongside aliens to evacuate flood victims on a water world. Human doctors teaching alien medical teams about trauma care. Human scientists collaborating with alien researchers to develop new medicines. A small Zylaxian child sitting in the visitors' gallery tugged at Nathan's sleeve. Officer Kelly, can you tell me the story about the human who carried 3 of my people through a fire? My friends don't believe it. Nathan knelt down beside the child. That was Officer Sarah Wright. She did it because humans can push through pain and exhaustion when others need help. But you know what's really special? She taught your people how to make better protective gear so they could help too. The council members watched this exchange with approval. Gone were the days when they flinched at human movements. Now, many alien species actually requested human teammates for dangerous missions, knowing their strength and endurance could save lives. Commander Martinez stepped forward to address the council. A year ago, you saw us as monsters because we could outrun prey and ignore pain. Now you understand. We don't use our abilities to hunt, but to help. We don't pursue to capture, but to rescue. We don't endure to fight, but to protect. She gestured to the mixed teams standing around the chamber. Look at what we've accomplished together. Your technology combined with our endurance. Your wisdom paired with our determination. We're stronger together than we ever were apart. The vote was unanimous. All restrictions on human space travel were lifted, and Earth was granted full membership in the Galactic Council. But more importantly, a new division was created. The Interspecies Emergency Response Force, with Nathan as its first director. After the ceremony, Nathan found Ambassador Crixfall waiting to speak with him. The alien skin now glowed with a calm, steady light, a far cry from the nervous flickering of their first meeting. You know what's funny? Crixfall said. We were so afraid of humans because you could chase anything until it got tired. We never imagined you would chase knowledge, chase discoveries, chase ways to help others. Nathan nodded. That's the real truth about humans that you needed to learn. We're not just persistent in hunting. We're persistent in everything we care about. And what we care about most is making things better for everyone. As they walked together through the council halls, Nathan saw humans and aliens working side by side, sharing stories and laughter. The fear that had once divided them had been replaced by understanding and respect. A young alien cadet rushed up to them, excitement evident in their movements. Director Kelly, can you tell us another story about human rescue missions? We want to learn how to be brave like you. Nathan smiled, remembering how just a year ago, these same species had wanted nothing to do with humans. Now they saw the truth, that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their ability to chase or fight or endure. It was in their choice to use those abilities to help others. The shocking truth about humans wasn't that they were dangerous predators. It was that they were determined protectors, persistent helpers, and tireless friends to any species in need.